Hi folks, so this is about z-scores on the normal distribution. So z-score, so it says here, tells you how many standard deviations the value is above or below the mean. So I'm going to do an example here. So if I look down at the example, Simon and Susan, so they did a French test and they did a science test. So we're just going to look at the French test first. And we just have a blank normal distribution here. So we should know already that the mean always goes in the middle. So for the French test, the mean is 60. Now it says that the standard deviation is 10. So that just allows us to fill in. A standard deviation is always just going to be how much each one jumps by. So it's going to be 70 there. So 60 plus 10 is 70. Then 80, then 90. And then 10 away from 60 is 50. And then 40, and then 30. So it says that Susan's mark is 75. So we know that the mean mark is 60. So the average that people got on the test was 60. But what this z-score tells us is how many standard deviations above or below the mean her mark is. So we know it's going to be above because it's 75, it's over 60. But this is going to tell us exactly how many standard deviations it's going to be. So z-score is x minus mu over standard deviation, so, or my x minus the mean over the standard deviation. So in this case it's going to be 75. This is Susan now. So for Susan, 75 minus the mean, which is 60, over standard deviation, which is 10. So we get 15 over 10, which is the same as 1.5. So that means that she's 1.5 standard deviations above the mean. So we got a positive number. So when your z-score gives you a positive number like here, like positive 1.5, that means it's going to be above the mean, and when it's negative it's going to be below. So you're going to get negatives with these. You're going to get a negative here now for Simon's score actually. So for Simon, we can see he got 50, so therefore we know it's below the mean. So therefore his z-score would be 50 minus the mean, which is 60, over 10. So we're getting minus 10 over 10, which is minus 1. So therefore he's 1 standard deviation below the mean. So his z-score is minus 1. So that's what z-score really works out. Let's look at the science test now. So I'm just putting in a blank normal distribution again. So here we see that the mean is 50. So therefore 50 in here. And it says that the standard deviation here. So therefore the first line here will jump by 5. We're just going to have 50 and 50. And then we have 65 here. And down here is 45. And down here is 40. And here is 35. So remember, you can have any numbers for the mean or the standard deviation. You just have to remember that whatever the standard deviation is, that's how much each one jumps by when you're filling it in on this. So yeah, now this is the science. So this is the science test. So let's look at it for both Susan and Simon again. So for Susan, so her z-score here would be for the science test, well, she got 65 in the science test, so therefore it would be 65 minus the mean, which is 50, all over the standard deviation, which is 5 in this case. So 65 minus 50 is 15 over 5, and that's going to be 3. So yeah, so she's 3 standard deviations exactly above the mean. So you can see that from the diagram anyway, because it's 1, 2, 3. So 65 is 3 standard deviations above. But you won't always, I mean, you'll get decimals with these as well. You won't always be exactly exactly a standard deviation or above. So for Simon, so Simon got 40. So therefore 40 take away 50. 5 is minus 10 over 5. So that's minus 2. So his z-score is -2, so that means he was below the mean, or he was below the average. So he was 2 standard deviations below the average. So that's it. And so you can try this one if you want. You can plot them on the diagram, but you should be able to see you don't actually have to plot them on the normal distribution. I'm just doing it just to kind of make it clear as to what's going on. But if you want to try these, just pause the video and try them, and then play it on, and I'll go through the answers. Right, so for the z-score, so it says that the mean here is 80, so we'll stick an 80 in here, and then we're going up by 4 each time, because the standard deviation is 4, so 84, 88, and 92, and then 76, 72, and 68. So z-score for the first one would be 84 minus, so z equals 84 minus the mean, which is 80, over standard deviation, which is 4. So that will just be 4 over 4, which is 1. So the z-score there is 1. Second one, so there's no context to this question. It's just to work. It's just to practice work using the formula, really. But next one, 72 minus standard deviation, which is 80, over, sorry, minus the average, which is or the mean, which is 80, over standard deviation, which is 4. So that's going to be minus 8 over 4, which is minus 2. Next one, 86 minus 80 over 4. So we get 6 over 4, which is same as 3 over 2, or 1.5, 1.5 standard deviations above the mean, that one is. And last one, 70 minus 80 over 4. So we get minus 10 over 4, which is minus 2.5. So that one is 2.5 standard deviations below the mean. So that's it.